Welcome, and we are so excited to be sharing with you today the big reveal. This is a moment that many of us have eagerly anticipated, and today you get to see some of the images and some of the possibilities as together we reimagine our space. So in just a few moments, we're going to be sharing several different images of what different spaces could look like on this church campus, and sharing some stories and some visions and ideas about how we can do ministry and connect to do kingdom work in each of these spaces. And we're so excited that you have taken the time to watch this video. I want to encourage you throughout this video to think about two things. One, I want to ask you to think about the structural changes of the church and look at the flow of each area. Don't get hung up on the design of chair choices or color scheme or flooring, because none of those have been decided yet. It's just one possibility of thousands of possibilities. So think about the structural changes, not the design. But then more importantly, as we look at each of these spaces, begin to imagine and dream in your own prayer life how these spaces might be used for ministry, how they might be used for us to better connect with the community of St. Angelo so that we can be the hands and feet of Jesus as we seek to serve not just today, but 20 years from now as well. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. There's more information about this project and the big reveal on the church website, so spend some time looking through that. Have any questions, feel free to reach out to a member of the Capital Campaign Committee, and we look forward to partnering alongside you as we do this project.
Psalm 78, 4-7. We will not hide these truths from our children.
We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord,
about his power and his mighty wonders.
For he issued his laws to Jacob.
He gave his instructions to Israel.
He commanded our ancestors to teach them to their children,
so the next generation might know them.
Even the children not yet born, and they in turn will teach their own children.
So each generation should set its hope anew on God,
not forgetting his glorious miracles and obeying his commands.
Doctors, nurses, lawyers, waiters, waitresses, teachers, students, food pantry clients, gymnastic parents, church members, and church visitors, young and old. We imagine all of these folks and more connecting in the backyard, the new backyard of downtown, creating a space that has seating, that is a green space, that has live music on occasion, outdoor games, and all sorts of activities where folks might want to gather before or after work, during their lunch break, for Bible studies, for concerts, for car shows, for gatherings, big and small. A place that people can connect with each other, and connect with the life of First Christian Church, the new backyard of downtown. But we believe the backyard of downtown is more than just a place. It's a way of doing ministry. It's a ministry model that might guide us in the years to come. That we might be a church that's casual in our welcome, that people might come and engage with us in a way where they feel comfortable, like they're in their own backyard, where they might kick off their shoes and build relationships. And in those relationships that we might do kingdom ministry, that we might dream big about what it means to be the backyard of St. Angelo. And that might extend far beyond just this single campus, but in different pockets throughout our community, that we might be the backyard of Bentwood, the backyard of ASU, the backyard of College Hill, the backyard of Plaza del Sol, the backyard of wherever it is you might see God moving. Throughout this campaign, this is just the beginning of a greater vision that God is leading this church into, a way in which we can connect with others so we can do kingdom ministry, the backyard of downtown.
Hi, I'm Steph Ellis Dearborn, and I'm excited to talk to you about our new space, The Table, which is acting as our welcome center. So as a new member of the church, actually about a year ago, we didn't really know where to enter the church, and we were kind of lucky that we knew members here who could lead us back to the fellowship hall for the early morning service. And we are so excited to have the opportunity to have a new welcome center. I've attended large churches before that had a welcome center, and it was so nice to be greeted by somebody and to get any handouts that I needed to know where I was going, and just to have a friendly face lead me to the right area. So I've actually seen pictures of this space, and it opens up the walls and you can see into the courtyard, and I'm really excited to let all that natural light in and maybe get rid of some of that cinder block and have some windows out to the gorgeous spaces that we're creating here. So I really see this as a community space where people can come and just fellowship with one another and maybe even sit down, have a cup of coffee and enjoy the free Wi-Fi, and maybe even have small business meetings of people who need to find a space to discuss their ideas. I'm so excited to see what this space can bring to our community, and I am excited to be able to maybe be a part of the welcoming crew.
I'm Teresa James.
I'm John James.
Okay, when I think about this church project, I think that the heart of the project is the part that's going to be called the garden. I think the garden is significant in Bible stories. You know, the Adam and Eve story took place in a garden. Jesus went into gardens whenever he had significant moments of his life. And even the resurrection story happened in a cave that was in a garden. So I see that our courtyard being turned into this garden facility is going to kind of mimic and expound upon the sacredness that you see in the Bible of those kind of outdoor spaces. It's the cornerstone of our church. Our cornerstone is there. It's the history of our church. We have people who have been part of our history, whose resting place is there. And this is an exciting expansion on that part of our church.
I think of the usability of that space, that the events that we've had in the garden, or what we'll call the garden, have been very successful events. The outdoor music, some of the kids' activities we've had out there, and I think the idea of using that space even more is just really exciting. And I really like the idea of it being more interconnected with the inside of the church and how the inside will open up out into that space. And so I really like how that ties everything together and makes that space even more usable for different events and just hanging out.
For me personally, I use that space now as a place to retreat to. My friends and I come here for lunch sometimes. It's a place where we can, stay safe in the time of coronavirus and get away and have a peaceful place that's, separated from the rest of the world to have lunch and just quietly talk. We've also come to the music at lunch. I know that's something that lots of people have engaged in and have always spoken so highly about our church for hosting that, and the space that it's in being such a unique space for downtown.
Well, and it draws people in, like you said, people who wouldn't normally interact with our facilities. This will even make it more of a draw for those kinds of things.
Hey, I'm Kent Fish, the chair of the Church and Society Outreach Ministries here at First Christian Church. And I've been asked to say a few things about our food pantry program, where we have been and where we might be headed. As many of you know, our program began many years ago with what we called God's Storehouse, which was not funded by our church budget, but involved keeping a number of canned goods in a cupboard above the sink so that when the occasional person would come in needing food assistance, one of the church staff could go down the hall and make a bag of canned goods for them. This food pantry program expanded with the leadership of Alan Borger and Kathleen Brasfield and others to a weekly Monday program where people would come into the church and get their goods. Our regular pre-COVID routine was to go over to the Concho Valley Food Bank on Monday mornings, make our selections and purchase them, put them in the back of a couple of pickups, bring it back over here to church, and put them out on a long line of tables in the front hallway here at the church. And then people would come in, stand in long lines, and make their selections. So we went from a cupboard to a closet. After we finished the day, we would take all our leftover food and put it in a closet underneath the stairwell in the children's wing. With COVID coming back in March, we had to change our strategy for social distancing purposes, so we began to pre-make our sacks on Sunday afternoon, line up 100 or more sacks on the tables, and then on Monday morning they begin coming, the clients, usually before 10 o'clock, and we sit out on our stools in the shade of the tree or the sidewalk and go in and out all day bringing sacks out. The clients are able to come in their cars and don't have to get out and are able to social distance. We have a faithful group of 4 or 5 volunteers who help with that every week. Our numbers back in March before COVID were something like 60-something families being served every week, and these last couple of months we have averaged over 90 each week. So we have moved from a cupboard to a closet and hallway to a parking lot ministry. Hopefully, when a corona vaccine comes out and we're hopefully able to be less restrictive in our social distancing, maybe we will have a 4th iteration of our food pantry program. We've been working with the visioning and designing team who are planning things for the church facility. And the idea is to try to maybe create sort of a grocery store type food pantry in our fellowship hall. The idea is to be able to have enclosable shelves or movable shelves so that certain times during the week we can use it as a food pantry grocery store, and then the remainder of the time it can function as our fellowship hall. So we would go from a cupboard to a closet and hallway to a parking lot to a fellowship hall grocery store. We of course don't know what the future will bring, but we can have trust that generosity and patience and God-sized dreams can make amazing things happen in the kingdom of God. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Trish Ayler, and I'm here to talk about our sanctuary. I'll never forget the first time I walked into our sanctuary. I was 10 years old, and I thought it was the most beautiful place I'd ever seen. It was brand new. I believe the year was 1956. It was full of people. A lot of the women were wearing hats. It was just so impressive. I've always thought it was beautiful, and I still think it's beautiful. A lot of the important things in my life have taken place in that sanctuary. I was baptized there. My children and grandchildren were baptized there. I was married there. My children and my granddaughter was married there. I've had memorial services for 2 parents and a brother-in-law. It's been a place that has been a great comfort. But for a while now, I've been thinking that there's some things that need to be changed. The chancel area is very closed off. It needs to be opened up so that we can invite people from the community to use that space for concerts and programs, and that we can be creative in our worship. The lighting needs to be improved. Sometimes TJ's in the dark, and we need to have that feeling of light inside and also coming from the windows so that people can see in and see that we're open. The flooring and the pews need to be looked at. Perhaps it would be more healthy if we did not have carpet on the floor, but some nice flooring that could be easily cleaned. The cushions get dirty, so we need to look at different kinds of seating that would make it more conducive to arranging the room where multiple people in the community could find a venue there. I believe that there is a sweet, sweet spirit in that place that cannot be overlooked. The Spirit of God, as well as the spirit of many people who have attended First Christian Church through the years and who love the place and would want to see us move forward. When the church was built, it was by forward-thinking folks. We need to be those forward-thinking folks now and to do what is necessary to make that sanctuary a place where we can worship and the community can use the space. Thanks.
Hello, church family and friends. I'm Sarah Hilgenberg, Sean Hilgenberg.
And we're here to talk about how excited we are about our big reveal, but about the plans that are possibly in place, are going to come to fruition for our church, for our children and youth area.
Yes, these plans for new development and new facilities for the kids.
New designs.
Sounds really, really exciting. The idea that this area for the kids will have kind of a one-stop place for drop-off, and just seems like it's going to just be so much easier for parents to drop kids off and find them.
So, and we believe strongly in that the children and youth are truly the lifeblood of our church, because they are going to be the ones who carry our church into future generations. And so the new space that is being envisioned is very multifaceted and will provide a lot of help provide enriching experiences for our youth and children, as well as the possibility of a preschool, and it will all be safe and secure, and we will do all sorts of ministries through this reconstruction.
We're super excited.
Hello, friends. My name's Debbie Young, and I'm your moderator at First Christian Church. I'm here this afternoon to talk about the chapel. And to be very honest with you, when TJ first gave me this assignment, I was a little bit uneasy, because I felt like of all the places in the church, the chapel was the one place that I felt the least connected with. So I did some studying of the renderings that were given to the church, and I actually became very excited, because I feel like the chapel is going to bring a lot of people to the church that may not have a connection with us at all. I think it's going to be something that we can do small weddings in. We can do wedding rehearsal dinners in. We can have art projects in. And one thought that came to me was we could actually have maybe the Central Freshman class art classes bring in their art. And it's not such a space that might be as intimidating as going to the school and walking the halls where the principal is. You can just come to a church and see a very small venue and have access to what you want to see, and you're done. Anyway, I think that this brings a lot to the church, and I hope that it is not just for us, but I hope it's going to be for everybody. And I'm really excited about what that potential is.
My name is Lynn Alexander. More than 70 years ago, my first church memories begin in a building on this block of Oak Street in downtown San Angelo. My grandparents and parents and brother and sister, aunts, uncles, and cousins were a member of First Christian Church. I remember church in the old building on the corner of Oaks and Harris, sitting with my family in worship. The sanctuary was full of children, not always quiet or still, but sitting with their parents or grandparents. I have memories of early Sunday school and vacation Bible school in the basement of that old church building. And I remember some Bible pictures of Jesus framed, hanging in the church, some that are still in this building today in the upstairs classrooms. I remember a birthday party for Jesus upstairs in the old building at Christmas time. And I have memories of vacation Bible school projects out on the Oak Street sidewalk. Then, as a young teenager, about 14 years old, we made the move to this church at 29 North Oaks. Excitement. My memories are clear, hearing my family talk about building plans and the wonderful new church. And my grandfather, whose favorite color was red, said that he would buy the carpet for the sanctuary because he wanted it to be red. Everyone was excited. They built this church. The year was 1955. They built it for their children and grandchildren, and it has served us well. It is now time, really time, for us to take a leap of faith and remodel and update this wonderful old building for our worshipers of today, for their children and their children's children. Times have changed. Needs of our community have changed. We have to be forward-thinking of what it means to be the hands and feet of Jesus in this time and for the generations to come. We will have new missions. We need to redefine the spaces here to fit those missions. I am still here, and many others like me are still here. And by participating in this campaign, we will be fulfilled with the spirit of the mission of building God-sized dreams once again in this familiar space, once again to serve God and be the hands and feet of Jesus. Let's go for it, folks. Let's get excited. Let's show what we can do to serve all of God's people here in this space at 29 North Oaks. Amen.